Guys, and welcome back. Thank you for watching the channel, and please do me a favor. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost a thing. Like the video. It helps my channel grow faster, and it helps me research more interesting statistics and topics and bring them to you. So today we're going to revisit the food prices increase. We've spoken in an earlier video about Mercosur, and we've mentioned that one of the key reasons for adopting Mercosur was the so-called elites in the EU, that they were not able to control the rising food prices for local food anymore. So they needed a cheaper alternative. And when we talk about food, obviously we are talking about normal food, let's call it that. So we are not talking about lobster or beluga caviar. We are not in Davos. We are not in Bilderberg. We're just going to discuss about the struggles of the everyday people. Okay, so the food prices in the US and EU have risen significantly over the last several years, and especially after the pandemics. However, the factors driving and sustaining these costs differ between the two regions, so between United States and EU, though both of them are currently navigating high margins and shifts in consumer habits. So if we speak first about United States, grocery in the US remain over 30% higher than they were in 2020 before the pandemics. The overall food costs, including dining out, continue to increase year over year. The key causes for that, what they are mentioning, it's higher input costs like fertilizer, transportation, fuel. We discussed about that. Now they're gonna blame it on Iran. Labor shortages, and obviously corporate profit margins, which is one of the primary factors keeping the baseline prices high. And then on the other side, you have the consumer impact. So shoppers are increasingly relying on coupons, promotions, sticking strictly to the shopping list, opting for smaller packages to cope with inflated grocery bills. But the sellers have come up with a strategy for that, and they call it shrinkflation. So instead of continuously raising the price, they sometimes just reduce the quantity. So if you've noticed that maybe the your favorite food is packed in smaller and smaller packages, but the price keeps rising, this is called shrinkflation. So instead of maybe getting 1 kilo at X price, you now get zero point 0.8 kilos at a larger price. Now, if we go into the EU speech, so there's an article by BBC, very interesting, where food prices still rising so much by Priti Mistry and Amar Moro, and this is about 1 year older, so it definitely got worse since then. But it had some interesting facts here I wanted to share with you. So the latest inflation data mentioned here shows food and non-alcoholic drink prices rose close to 5% in the year to July, so in just 7 months. And looking over the long term, the picture is even more stark, they say. So in the 5 years, food prices increased by around 37%. And you have the graph here. So it basically shows the period after the pandemics. And then you see there was an increase, but then a sharp rise. And then starting with maybe 2023, it cooled down a bit, and then maybe starting with end 2024, it went again high. And we don't have the latest data yet, but for sure, with the Iran war and the Oil price rising will probably get another spike pretty soon. So, of course, here they'll go into details. Why is that? Because there was a drought, because it didn't rain too much, they say. Global events like the war in Ukraine. I mean, come on, guys, we're in the fifth year of the war, and again, they are treating it like it's the only cause. What they don't mention, and maybe I just skipped it, but it's basically the profit margins that need to keep up and up to keep those shareholders happy. And if you look at the type of food which have risen the most, you have beef and veal, 24.3%, coffee 18%, chocolate 17.2%, and then fruit, vegetable, juice 8.6%. So please bear in mind these are the official statistics, and I'm not sure how is it in your country, but in mine we take the official statistics with a huge grain of salt because they are always looking for the products and services which went up in price a bit less. So they are fine tuning uh, the consumption rate to have the inflation shown as smaller than it actually is, or at least that's my opinion. So now, if we go back to the overall situation in the EU, so the union faced extraordinary price hikes on supermarket shelves following the pandemics. And this was heavily driven by energy costs, supply chain shocks, first stemming from the war in Ukraine. But outside of the Syrians, and even with the Syrians, they found some way to transport it from Ukraine using the neighboring countries, using Romania, using Poland. So I think they're putting too much blame on the war for the food prices increase, and I think the real reason lies elsewhere. Uh, then, while agricultural commodities like wheat and dairy have stabilized at least a bit recently, um, the persistent increase in wage and operational costs for food manufacturers and distributors have kept up consumer prices high. And then, if we are looking into consumer impact, so how is the consumer impacted? Uh, then, real wages have recently shown signs of modest recovery, let's say, but in nominal terms, not real ones. And the grocery bill weighs heavy on everyone's paycheck. So shoppers are balancing home brand staples, consuming less and less premium treats. They are looking for coupons and reductions and so on. So I think if you consider like 2020, the pandemics as a milestone, we can conclude that the cheap food era is over. While I would argue that it wasn't really cheap in the first place, it appears cheap compared to the prices that we have today. So there were some behavior shifts at the supermarket, as I said, because people need to adapt. So households must permanently allocate a larger portion of their monthly income to grocery baselines, leaving less disposable income for savings, housing, leisure, and so on. So shoppers had to adopt some coping strategies to manage their bills. Rise of private labels, so consumers are abandoning name brands. Um, they go maybe for less healthy food like the ultra processed food because the price is lower sometimes. They do store hopping, so cross shopping, visiting multiple stores to chase specific discounts or coupons rather than just doing a one-stop shop and buying everything at once. Um, there's a volume reduction because shoppers are buying smaller packages. or strictly limiting purchases to the exact meal plan necessities to avoid food waste. And we've also talked about shrinkflation, where packages have visibly shrunk. So, a box of cereal, chips, yogurt, whatever, often contains 10% or even more, or even less, sorry, less product than its 2020 version, while costing more. And there's also a skimflation. That's another term. In order to keep prices not rising so much, some manufacturers have also reformulated recipes, substituting better ingredients with cheaper alternatives. For example, replacing olive oil with palm oil, just out of the top of my head. Obviously, there's less dining out, there's more cooking at home, so we'll touch the subject of the dining out and restaurants, how they are affected by the current economic situation in a later video. But for now, again, thank you guys for your attention to the matter. Thank you for viewing the video, and please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you, and talk to you soon.